concepts. Keep this in mind. My gender is a breakdown of the words of the patriarchy and an expression of freedom in the form of "fuck you for assuming" story time. White daffodils in springtime made him queasy. In China, he said, white is the color of death, and my bouquet was purity and the absolute turmoil in the discovery of the white sheets of new marriage. His favorite color was the color of my bruises at sunlight. He courted me with promises of temptations and flirtations of disaster, like wringing necks nuzzled next to apologies that tasted of whiskey and doubt. So I bought him the key to my body and let him find his way into my well wishes. He always fucked me like a cheap motel. He left the roaches, but took his time staining the sheets. He fucked me like the desperation of presentless birthdays, like the praying for maybe just one more hour, minute, second for someone to show up. He fucked me like yesterday. His skin was never so cold as when we finished making love. I rolled into the sheets with the tide of tears strung out on regrets, and he found the soft shell of fatty skin tissue that comprised the concepts of my demise. Keep this in mind. My gender is a representation of the number of times I have cried myself to sleep in my own arms because the emaciation of who I wanted to be left me starving and empty. Story time. I never really needed to ask what made him angry. The silence of his heartbeat at bedtime was the only hint at the thump-thump of his fists on my chest, and the bruises were fairies that kissed the empty spaces to call me mystical. Because people like me, he explained, made up exactly 0.267% of the world's population. I couldn't exist in the sunlight, he said. My body, my bruises, made me special. Summer was never the right color for his complexion either. There was too much warmth in the sun for his heart. I told him there was no sunshine in his smile, and I screamed for daybreak and deliverance from the force of his fists, but by dusk my bruises were supernovas, falling red and pink between my thighs and fading into sunset. Keep this in mind. My gender is a contradiction of my best beer-bellied laughter and the 5 inches of stiletto and ruby-red lips that told you to fuck off when you told me to stop playing make-believe and put on the damn dress. Story time. He kissed me with his knuckles when I woke up in the morning. He kept me trapped like butterflies in glass cages, and my wings were clipped and pressed into the life of docile belonging, fitting into places where I shouldn't. He never told me he burned the bridges I built with my lips and replaced them with the waterways of silence to drown me, so I hit him back. But keep this in mind, my gender is not a compilation of the sensation of bruises and beatings to make me see that it's just a phase I'll grow out of. It is not the dog-eared pages of story that fold, unfold, and rip through the seams of time when I grow up to be the person suppressed and repressed to be best dressed with a yes on my lips to please you. My gender is not your story time.